Sushi, a unique way of eating vegetables and minerals and lots of good tastes and colors and flavors. And you want to know how to make it vegan style? Stay by. We'll be right back.
Hi, and welcome back to Let's Cook. We are Jeff and Nancy Riedesel, and we are going to teach you a few things about sushi today. Now, my perception of sushi up until about a year ago was
the same as mine,
and most everybody else I know, and that was one of raw fish wrapped up in a smelly piece of seaweed. And we learned at a convention actually that we went to, had the privilege of going to, a little different thing, some different things about sushi. And so I'd like to try to teach you some of the things that I learned. Now, I want you to well understand that I am not a sushi master by any stretch of your imagination. Okay, but this is a fun thing. We're going to have a fun day today. And we're just going to start right off talking about some of the elements of sushi. So,
yeah, my recollection of sushi was that it always had raw fish in it.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because the word sushi translates more closely to vinegared rice.
That's interesting. That's about as interesting as tofu.
And tofu, we learned in another country, translates more into square. The word tofu just means square. Has nothing to do with soybeans.
That's so interesting.
So what's in a word, you know? What's in a word?
But we love to do things creatively, and we enjoy making foods that are pretty and that taste good. They're creative, they're simple, inexpensive. And so we are going to enjoy making some colorful dishes here. And you've been enjoying having a lot of fun putting these things together.
Yes, I have. First of all, why don't you read the directions for what my son, the chef, my executive chef's son, Scott, calls perfect sushi rice.
Okay.
This is a little difficult to master, but we've made an attempt at it here.
And I understand that it takes a whole year of studying in Japan to make perfect sushi rice.
It takes a long time to study under a sushi master.
Okay, well, let's read the instructions on how to make perfect sushi rice. We'll use 2 cups of water, 2 cups of rice, 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 1½ tablespoons of turbinado sugar or fructose, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay?
Okay, now that's it. Now there are several tricks that Scotty has told me needs to occur for this to be perfect. Number 1, the rice needs to be what we call either Cal Rose, I think it's a brand, or just sweet rice or sticky rice.
And you get that basically from Asian stores.
Asian markets are the only places that I've ever found it in my searching. And the reason that you want a sticky rice is because you want it to stick together. Now normally when we make rice in this country and in other countries, we go for a fluffy rice, a full body but a fluffy rice.
Dry and probably...
Yeah, and that's definitely not what you want with sushi because it's going to be the glue that's going to stick everything else together. And we'll demonstrate that as we go. So number 1 is to use some type of a sticky or sweet rice. Number 2, another little trick is to soak the rice first before ever cooking. Just soak the rice in an ample amount of water.
Cold or hot?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
For about at least 30 minutes. Just soak the rice. Now it will expand somewhat. So then once this process takes place, then drain off the water and then measure. And you measure 1 for 1. In other words, 1 cup of the soaked rice with 1 cup of water.
Okay.
So you bring the water to a boil. You add the rice. No salt or anything like that. Just add the rice. Bring it to a boil, bring it back to a boil, cover it, put it on simmer for approximately, what did we figure?
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay? And then after that, we removed it from the heat and let it sit covered for another 30 minutes, not stirring it at all.
So you don't open up the lid, you don't stir it up.
Don't check on it, don't mess with it, leave it alone, and just let it set.
off the burner.
Off the burner.
Okay.
Now, the second real trick to it, and I'm going to use our little wooden bowl, and Scott recommends a wooden bowl. I'm doing this exactly to his directions.
And you found that it works pretty well.
It does. He recommended a wide, shallow wooden bowl. Wet first with water, okay? And then you turn the cooked rice out on the bowl.
Okay, so you've already cooked this on the stove to save time.
Exactly.
And it's already sticky and it's cold.
Yes.
Or at room temperature.
Well, it's at room temperature. But it's still kind of warm actually because it's been it was cooked and now it's getting cooler.
Okay.
So here's the next trick. We take the ingredients that we saw on the board. It was some type of a sweetener, and instead of the vinegar, which would normally be used, we used the lemon juice, which is a little different, and a little salt. We made a mixture of that.
And the reason we don't use vinegar is because
vinegar has a lot of bad effects on the system, the liver specifically.
basically it kind of destroys the hemoglobin in the blood, so that's why we prefer lemon. Plus, the lemon is good because it alkalizes the system.
That's exactly
And
right.
it's a healing herb, so we love to use lemon.
So technically, what we were supposed to do, and what I tried to do, but it was a little difficult, was to fold. I had the liquid in a little cup, and I would pour a little bit on, and I would fold the rice over it. You never want to stir sushi rice. In fact, you never really want to stir any rice. And you want it to have a translucent glaze to it. You can almost see through the grain. And so you pour a little over.
But not the sesame seeds.
No, I'm not going to pour the sesame
Okay,
seeds.
just want to check.
This is our make-believe liquid that we made up. Okay. But you would pour a little bit over, and you would fold it, and you would pour a little bit more over, and you would fold it. And all the while, you would be fanning it to try to cool it off.
Okay.
Now, this is my understanding of what they really do. So we kind of did that. I don't know how closely I followed that. Now, unfortunately, we made this up previous to this, and so it's a little...
it's very sticky.
It's very sticky, and...
so it should hold everything together like super glue.
if we can get it out of the bowl.
Okay.
Okay, the next, and the most crucial part of what we're going to do here is the nori sheets.
Now, tell us about nori sheets for those that don't know.
Nori is seaweed, and this is basically a toasted, rolled out piece of seaweed.
Okay.
And it has a fishy smell to it, and it's what gives the sushi the fishy flavor.
So it's actually dehydrated sea vegetables that come from the ocean.
Exactly. And if you can look at it, it's been all mushed together and then rolled out and then lightly roasted.
Very thin. Mm-hmm.
Now, there are several different schools of thought. In culinary school, they taught us shiny side up. But for the life of me, I can't figure out which is the shiny side. And then I talked to another expert, and they said it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to put it...
And recognize now, this is from amateurs. So we are here bringing you what we're learning, and this is what it's all about. We're sharing with you our knowledge.
I'm sure that there are literally thousands of people watching us, or with the capability of watching us, that know much better how to do this than I do. But we're going to try to educate those of you that don't. So what you do is you take some of this extremely sticky rice, which is a good thing, and let's go over one more thing here.
Oh yeah, your roll-up.
We have a bamboo rolling mat. It's very simple. This is one that I've used for a while, and this is one that I bought yesterday. Brand new and a little bit smaller, so I'll probably just be using my standby. Now, I don't know if you can see or not, but the bamboo, this particular rolling mat has a curved side on one side and a flat side on the other. Okay, so we'll put that back down, and I'll put my saran wrap over it. And I don't normally put saran wrap on this, but I'm going to try to maintain a neater mat since we're going to be rolling a few of these things. And then, of course, I put my whichever shiny side or whatever. I'm going to place it like that because, frankly, I don't see where it makes a difference. But I'm not a sushi master either. Okay, so we're going to take some of this sticky rice and start to spread it. Now, this is probably the hardest part in my mind of doing the sushi, and that is covering what you want, not surely more than what you want, but definitely enough of the nori sheet to make a difference. Because when we start to roll this thing and do the final cutting, you'll see why this is very important.
So you want it to have it nice thin or thick
No,
layer
I want it
rice?
very thin.
Okay.
And I don't want to come all the way to the end. I want to leave about an inch or more space at the end. And that'll be the end that I finish rolling. And all this will come together very shortly, literally, when I start to roll it.
Well, this is an easy way of using up leftover rice, too. If for people that have leftover rice and they want to do something with it and they want to have a quick luncheon, they can just cut up a bunch of vegetables and do some quick sushi rolls.
Well, except for one thing. You just wouldn't have leftover sticky rice.
No, what I'm thinking is if you don't have the sticky rice and you have leftover brown rice or white rice, after it's sat in the refrigerator, sometimes it is kind of sticky. Can you do like water in it and add some extra water to make sticky rice?
I don't know.
Okay, well, an idea.
The next thing we're going to do, we have some paste here. It calls for umeboshi paste. This is what traditional sushi calls for. Well, I didn't have any umeboshi paste. And what it is basically is a sweet, salty plum paste, okay? So I took a little bit of miso, which is salty, and all it is soybeans. And I took some raspberry, I didn't have any plum, all fruit. And I made my own umeboshi paste. And I'm just going to do a little thin line. This just gives it a little sweetness and a little saltiness. So we're starting to get all of those flavors that we have talked about as far as the sweet, the sour, the bitter, salty. We're going to try to form an orchestra of flavors here. Okay, now we're basically ready to start stuffing the sushi.
Now I see we've got a tray full of all kinds of beautiful vegetables. Let's talk about these vegetables here.
Well, obviously we're not going to put everything on one because the roll would be this big and we wouldn't be able to. Okay, but we have some straw mushrooms, which are very good.
And we got these from an Asian store.
Right, they come in a little package, refrigerated. And I prefer these because you'll notice that most things on this plate are lengthwise, are elongated. And that's because our roll is elongated, and that's how we're going to roll it.
Okay, so you cut them very thin strips of all the different vegetables.
These are called julienne cuts. When you think of julienne, I want you to think of matchsticks, things that look like matchsticks. And we also chose different colors because when this is rolled and when this is cross-sectioned, the colors will then become apparent. So not only will it look good and taste good, it will be nutritious. So let's see here. What I normally start out with is a few spring onions. And I'll just lay these in. And you know what? If I come out the ends of it with some of it, it's okay because that's actually part of my design. And
it's pretty. And the spring onions, I noticed that you've taken the green part and you've actually slivered them.
Just to make them thinner.
Okay.
Let's do, okay, now we have our version of pickled ginger. And what this is, you can make your own pickled ginger by using lemon juice instead of vinegar, and you can use beet juice for the colorant.
The beet juice is a wonderful idea for coloring. And you know, that's another thing that I've seen in different, we've got a vegan sushi book at home, and in order to make your colored rice, we've seen different colored rice on sushi, and it was beautiful. They had rice that was actually pink rice, and the pink rice was made with some beet juice. Then the yellow rice was made with either saffron or turmeric. And we've seen, you can take that different colored rice and put it into your sushi wraps and make beautiful, beautiful hors d'oeuvres.
Yep. Now we have some yellow squash that we have sliced lengthwise, and we have some cucumber, which is always good. Just a few of them. Now we grew some mung bean sprouts.
Mung bean sprouts are wonderful in sushi.
I like the mung because they're obviously long, and we're going to leave the tails on them and the heads on them and everything on them because
you get a lot of fiber.
A lot of nutrition in there.
The sprouts are anywhere from 5 to 7 times more nutrient dense than your regular vegetables.
Just the mung bean itself. That's the whole point.
It's an incredible way of adding nutrition, as you see, to this beautiful dish.
I think maybe just some peppers, and then we're finished with this particular roll. Then let's see how this goes. Okay, so here's the second dicey part. It's how to get all that wrapped up in a little small roll. What I'm going to do is to pull the rolling mat up. I'm going to start it a little bit. I'm going to actually start the roll with the mat. Now, some people use the mat all the way through. I'm not that experienced, so I like to start it. And then what I'll do, I'll back off on it. and then I'll finish it out by hand. And I want a real tight sushi roll, so I'm going to pull things towards me while I roll to try to make this very, very tight and very uniform. And don't be afraid to, boy, I smell the seaweed in the nori.
It smells really good.
It really smells great. We make tuna fish out of this same roll. Now, I've gotten to this point, okay? I'm going to use a little bit of water because these nori sheets are, when you add a little water to it or liquid, it's like glue.
Well, you think about it, it's dehydrated seaweed, so when you put water on it, it just will poof it right back up.
In effect, we're going to glue this together right now. And then what I do at the end, in order to form this, is I take my rolling mat and I just squeeze it. I just squeeze it together to compact it. Okay?
Okay.
And then, voila.
Wow, it looks just like a sushi roll.
Well, I hope so. That's what it is. Now, we're going to set that aside. We're going to do one or two more, and we're going to, I think we're going to stuff this one with avocado.
Oh, that's my favorite. It's when you use an avocado.
So, same principle, and I won't, we already went through this, so I'm just going to do it. And why don't you...
Do you want me to spread the rice on while you cut the avocado?
Well, sure.
Okay. Trick.
I would be happy to have you spread the rice on.
All right. See if I can do this.
I'm
If I can do this, anybody can do this.
Oh, contraire. I'm going to show you a little trick about avocado here. This is a little trick I learned in school. It's kind of a neat thing. There's 3 or 4 different ways to open avocados. I prefer it this way. Take a chef's knife or some other large knife, go all the way around, pry it open.
Ooh, what a beautiful avocado.
This is a very good one. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the seed like that, whoops, into the middle of the seed and turn it. And that de-seeds my avocado. Then I'm going to take a spoon, about a table-sized spoon, and I'm going to get it just between the skin and the avocado. And we're going to scoop it out. I always have a little left over if I don't scoop far enough. And I'll do it the same way here.
Do I need to put the umeboshi paste on while you're doing that?
Yes, please.
Just take and put a
In
little...
fact, and I don't think you've ever rolled a sushi before, have you?
I have
you?
rolled
Okay.
a sushi or two,
Okay. Well, I was going to say this could be a first for you.
but you just didn't see it.
Okay. And then, of course, we're going to stick with our theme of elongated, so I'm just going to slice some long, thin pieces.
As long as we don't have flesh-colored slices.
That's why I'm wearing gloves today. Now, do you want to start off and put a few of those in the middle?
Okay. This is my favorite. The avocados in here is just so delicious. Gives it that nice buttery flavor.
You want one more?
One more.
Okay.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do on this other one, while you finish stuffing this however you want to stuff it, you did a really nice job.
Well, thank you.
I think from now on that you'll be the official sushi person in our household.
I don't think I could usurp that from you.
Oh, I think it'd be very easy.
I like red and green, and I think I'll take some of the yellow peppers.
I'm going to get my cutting board so that I can cut this sushi
Okay,
out.
that'll be great. And I'll just continue doing this. Now, in the bowl, what we have here is some marinated carrot sticks. And we've just marinated that into some namashoyu soy sauce. And if you don't have namashoyu, which is an unfermented soy sauce, you can use regular soy sauce or Bragg's liquid aminos. And we also have, what were these? I forgot.
Parsnips.
Parsnips, that's right. So we have parsnips and carrot sticks. And when you marinate these into a salty base, as we have with the namashoyu, it actually starts to break down the protein fibers of the vegetables, so it starts to get it soft. So then we'll take this, get it started. I think I've got everything in here. And then start pulling it together.
You do that just like a pro.
Well,
What we want to
quite.
demonstrate to you is that this is really very simple and probably simpler than what we're making it appear to be. And I encourage people to try this. It doesn't cost much to to buy the apparatus. The rolling sheets are cheap. The nori sheets are cheap. Most of this stuff is just vegetables. And to give this a try on your own, you could amaze yourself.
Besides, it's fun. We did this for a birthday party for our daughter. We just did a sushi bar. And a lot of people are not aware that this is so easy to do and that it doesn't have fish in it. Okay. So we do sushi bars for parties and just really enjoy the colors and flavors of it.
Okay, I'm going to cut these up now. Now again, according to tradition, and my son, and I can't question him because he won't let me question him. Traditionally, they cut them in half once with a very sharp knife. Actually, what I would do is to have a lemon or a lime here and run the knife blade through the lemon or lime first.
That makes it cut a lot easier, doesn't it?
Make it cut, and then you cut them apart one more time. So you turn each roll into 4, and that's actually the size. But we prefer to do them probably in 8ths.
Right, because there's so many different flavors in there, so many different vegetables. I like to have the different ones in small sizes. And the more vegetables you have in the colorful they are, you can get really fancy and make faces out of them just by putting the vegetables in a certain way.
It's actually an art form to some people.
There's a real good cookbook out there for any of you that are looking for a way to make sushi, and it's just called Vegetarian Sushi. And when you can get that, it has beautiful pictures in it, and it gives you lots and lots of ideas. So I'm going to make one more avocado roll here and put a few more different vegetables in it. Let's see, we're going to use some cucumber strips. Just a few. I made the last one probably a little bit fat. What do you think?
Well, it could go on a diet, but hey, you know.
But look how pretty.
Look how filling.
And that's another thing. This is what I consider happy food. I like the thought of happy food. And the Bible tells us in Proverbs 17:22 that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. So if we can make happy food full of color, flavors, textures, nutrition, then we're doing something that the Lord wants us to do, to make happy food, happy bellies, and our guests will be loving our foods and enjoy coming over. Now, you've got something here called
wasabi.
Wasabi.
Wasabi is an interesting thing. It's this actually isn't true Japanese wasabi, which is extremely expensive and very hard to get a hold of in this country. This is actually a horseradish, which is called wasabi. This is a heat, a type of a heat that some people take and put on their sushi. It's a kind of a heat that starts here and literally goes up through the top of your head in about 15 seconds.
Okay, so you only use a little bit of it.
Used a tad. And of course here we have the sauce which you've talked about. So the way we do it, if you'll hand me chopsticks.
Okay.
And I won't do this, I will not sample this on set, but we take a pair of chopsticks, and once I learn how to operate these, pick up a sushi, I'll dip it in the sauce, and then I'll eat it. And I've learned from my Japanese friends that nothing else goes with sushi. It's not potatoes, not sprouts, not salads, not bread, nothing. This is a meal unto itself.
So you have your proteins, your carbs,
You've got everything.
Vitamins, minerals, colors, textures. Looks like an excellent meal to me.
It's very
delicious. When it's set into a beautiful setting, then it's more appetizing. And you've always said that food has to
look good and then taste good, because if it doesn't look good, nobody's gonna eat it.
Right.
So it has to look good first, then it has to taste good. Then it has to be nutritious in my thinking, and then something that we added several years ago, we feel that it has to have some medicinal quality. That is, to be good for your body in a medicinal way.
Nourishing.
Nourishing as well as medicinal.
And when you use lots of different colors and flavors and textures and varieties of vegetables, you have all the different vitamins and minerals and enzymes, the things that will help to spark your immune system. When we keep our immune system peaked, then we're less likely to have diseases. So this is another thing that we're doing with our sushi, is we're helping you to incorporate more vitamins, minerals. These enzymes are live enzymes. They are just wonderful to help digestion. And the minerals that come from the nori sheets are also excellent for you. We need more minerals into our diet.
I'm going to show you a different way of slicing this sushi. We're going to slice it at a 45-degree angle. And then we're going to go back. And then what you have is a little sushi tower.
Oh, cool.
It's a little more decorative than just straight across. Okay?
And you can see the vegetables better, too.
It gives a little better cross-section. Now, there's another way to roll a sushi, which I have not mastered yet, and that's called inside out. And that's where we actually reverse this whole process. The rice is on the outside, and then comes the nori sheet. Actually, we do the rice just like you did it, and then we flip it over. And then we load the inside, which is just a nori sheet, and then we roll it backwards.
That's a trick.
That's called inside out.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well,
so I'll get there sometime.
Well, I think
but not today.
With more practice, we'll be able to do that. But at least you can see that there is all kinds of vegetables and ways that you can use the vegetables as you put them into your sheets, into your nori sheets.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so that is sushi, and it has nothing to do, in my mind, with raw fish.
No, that's right.
Okay, so.
All right. Well, let's take a break, and we'll come right back and see how this looks when it's in a presentation-type tray.
We hope you've enjoyed Let's Cook with Chef Nancy Riedesel. Now let's take a moment to review our featured recipe. For the perfect rice, you will need 2 cups of water, 2 cups of rice, 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 1 1/2 tablespoons of turbinado or fructose, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. If you would like more information, or if you would like to contact Chef and Nancy Riedesel, you may write to 3abn, Post Office Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois 62896, or call 1-800-752-3226. Now let's take a look at our finished recipes.
Hi, and welcome back. Well, that's our sushi.
that was a lot of fun. Messy, but fun. I think it's fun when we do recipes like this. You see the beautiful colors, the textures, know that there's all kinds of nutrients in that it's going to make us a healthier person when we eat this way. We're told that eating food as simply prepared as possible in its most natural state as possible is going to make us a lot healthier person. So this is what we're trying to do with the sushi, just give you another idea on how you can make food simple, tasty, and beautiful. And we want to encourage you to have a merry heart, because it will do good like a medicine, and you will be a healthier person because of it. Thank you for joining us today with Let's Cook, and we hope to see you again when we make something else fun and exciting.